the Princess of Wales. Also, Meghan Markle will be in one of those. And Duncan, if you could join us now and just tell us a little bit about what it might be like to be riding behind all of this.
Yes, I suppose it depends which member of the royal family you are as to how you're feeling right now. But for Meghan, I think this will be a reminder that olive branch is there. King Charles spoke of his love for her and Harry in his first speech, and now her and Harry, thankfully, are involved in this.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday, September 14th. Just watching the Queen Elizabeth funeral. Probably won't see another one of these for your lifetime, so it's worth the watch if you're into that kind of stuff, if you're into history, stuff like that.
A lot rides on them now to make sure that this family.
I figured we would come on and we would talk a little bit about this last college football week, this last NFL week, just some thoughts, general thoughts, and wrap up the week. You guys can ask some questions too, obviously. It's on Fox News, the funeral. Thanks, Don. Hope all is well with you also. There was quite a few surprises in the NFL. All right. I mean, there's a few where we could be like genuinely surprised. And then there's a couple that were like, well, I should have known, right? So the I should have known is like the Colts losing to the Texans or tying, right? I mean, what a joke, a tie. Like, fucking ties should never fucking happen in football. You play 70 fucking minutes just for a tie. It's just stupid. It's so stupid. It makes 0 sense at all. They need to get rid of ties. But, the Colts tying the Texans, coming back from down 17, that's surprising right here, right? But it's like one of those things where you should expect it with the Frank Reich team. This is a team that goes into Jacksonville and loses with the playoffs on the line last year. So can we really expect them to win these kind of games anymore? I don't know. I was kind of surprised that Matt Ryan fumbled the ball so many times. I think he fumbled the ball 3 or 4 times. He got it back 3 times, but just pathetic. Not sure what they're doing right there, but the Colts really surprised me with how poorly they played. I'd say that one of the biggest surprises was the Broncos losing, the Seahawks winning the game. Not really. The Broncos were the much better team. They drove the ball. They offensively they were much better than the Seahawks. They just fumbled it twice on the 1-yard line. I mean, I think that's the first time that happened since 1987. The team fumbled on the 1-yard line twice and lost it in 2 different possessions. Russell Wilson looked like, I don't know, average. He didn't really try to run the ball at all. Usually that's where he's most dangerous, when he's a threat to run. He didn't really run the ball. Their tight ends looked very good. Their receivers did not, Jerry Jeudy looked good, but that was about it. Their running game, all right, but when you're fumbling it inside the 5-yard line, that's going to make you not trust your run game. So I was very surprised, and I was very surprised that they kicked the 64-yard field goal at the end. It was 4th and 4, I believe, and they had 50 plus seconds left. They let 30 seconds left run down to 20 seconds and called a timeout. I'm thinking first, why did they just waste 30 seconds, right? Before they ran the play or called a timeout. And then they run the field goal unit out. I think everybody was surprised. Even the Seahawks, the Seahawks looked pretty surprised. So, that was odd. And then the coach saying, right after that, it was the right move. I got to where we wanted to be. And, we threw McManus out there. And then yesterday he says, you know what? I made a mistake. Well, I mean, you got to be consistent with these decisions in the NFL. You're not like a coordinator anymore. You take the blame. So he's already showing inconsistency with his decision making. Maybe he's feeling a little heat, maybe from Russell Wilson or the other players. But frankly, I'm just getting tired of Russell Wilson. It's the same old, Russell Wilson just seems like one of those look at me guys, That's just how he comes off of it. His suit, it's one thing to wear a suit to the game. Russell Wilson dressed like he was going to the Grammy Awards or something, or just like the Met Gala. Just strange. It's like he's gone so Hollywood now, where he just doesn't have that dog in him anymore like he used to. So Russell Wilson, not a fan. Broncos, probably 3rd or 4th in that division. So just like I predicted, right? Broncos fan on Twitter a month ago told me they have the best wide receiver talent in the division, best running back talent in the division. I just don't see it. I mean, Geno Smith tore that secondary apart. So I don't know, maybe the Broncos will improve, but they did not look good that game. Yeah, when the Texans wore their Letterman jackets to the Patriots game, that was pretty funny too. The Bills 10-point favorite over the Titans. Look, I mean, that's a big line, right? I mean, that's huge. That's tough to back a 10-point line. But you know what? There's one 10-point line that I would back this week, and that's the Rams over the Falcons, right? I think the Rams are mad. They're coming off, a bad loss where they look like shit. Everyone's questioning them. It's a perfect get-right spot for the Rams. And the Falcons are coming off of another blown loss, another shot to their gut. I think we're ripe to see a blowout right here. I wouldn't be shocked if the Rams won by 21 points. So that might be one where you do an alt line, or do a reverse parlay or a pleaser. Say Rams -17, something like that. You get a few games every week where you have the chance to do a pleaser, a reverse teaser that pays much higher. So if you're going to do a reverse teaser this week, I would definitely recommend putting the Rams in -17. Soccer will be out around 11. Soccer yesterday sucked. All those games pretty much sucked too. They didn't these teams collectively decide not to score goals on Sundays, and then Bayern looks very average, in the Bundesliga season so far. And then they just beat the shit out of, they beat the shit out of them yesterday. Out of nowhere, we blew a few shots early in that game. We should have been up 3-0, but that is what it is. Early favorite for Champions League. I mean, you got to go with Man City. But Champions League is tough, Bayern is the best team one day, and then the next day they look very average. So I said, the beginning of this year, they could be better than last year with Lewandowski. He looks a lot older this year. Like, he's not looking too good. So I don't think that'll hurt them very much. Mane looks, very good. So Bayern, Man City. It's all about who gets hot, so. Wilson, yeah, so I think I've talked about this for a few years. It's like, I don't get it when you watch Russell Wilson, right? And I'm not sure if it's him or the coach. Like, I'm sure the coach does not say, like, hey, Russ, take the play clock down to 1 or 0 every play before you snap it, right? He's been doing this for years with the Seahawks. It's been maddening. And then he did it in the first game with the Broncos, right? You've got the 40-second play clock, and he's taken it all the way down to 0, 1, 2 every time, and he's clapping his hands like at the end to get the snap off. Like, come on, like, snap. He's panicking at the end to get the snap off. Like, you have the 40 seconds before that to take care of that. So it's just really weird how he just runs the clock down on themselves every time. They started that final drive with 4 minutes left, over 4 minutes. They went like 24 yards in 4 minutes, cost themselves the win, right? So I'm not really sure like why Russ does that, but I don't really care. I might just fade him for the rest of the year. Yeah, the Ukraine fix could be in for these leagues, to be honest. It wouldn't really surprise me. Tottenham losing, yeah, that was surprising. Yeah. The max was Baylor, BYU over 52. And we just needed Baylor to score at the end in overtime to tie it up. And they couldn't get it done. That game was a weird game. They scored a shit ton of points in the second half. The first half, they like moved the ball, but they wouldn't score. And then the last minute of the half, they scored 2 touchdowns. And then they just were flying in the second half. So they just started a little bit late. But I would play that. I would play that max play again 100 times out of 100. It's going to hit like 85 times out of 100 right there. What they had was, what killed us was too many penalties, right? Just too many penalties. You can't have penalties in a tough environment like that. I don't do FIBA at all, no. My picks, I have some computer models, yeah, but I don't depend on the computers to make the picks, right? I depend more on watching the games, my numbers, stuff like that. I've told people on here 100 times the best way to become a good handicapper is watch as many games as possible, right? Like, the best way to be an expert in chemistry is, read as many chemistry books as you can, right? It's the same thing. So you got to educate yourself. And the way you educate yourself in this game is by watching as many games as you can. So that's pretty much all I do is watch games. Thoughts on NFL over-unders? I only played like one last week, I think. Look, week 1 in the NFL is always weird. Week 1 in college, always weird. I feel like the last few years I've been looking back on week 1 of the NFL saying this is where all the crazy shit happens. Then it kind of gets normal through there. So you'll be in Munich for the Bayern versus Leverkusen game. That's pretty cool. Munich's a nice place. I've been there. You gotta go to the Olympic Stadium. It's pretty nice. I'm into that history and stuff, so take a look at that. BYU +4 versus Oregon. Listen, my numbers, I would have BYU the favorite. So I would easily say like, oh, take BYU +4, right? This is the first thought that comes to my mind, right? Take BYU +4. How do they lose to Oregon? Oregon, softer team. We saw what happened when Oregon played a smash mouth team, right? Georgia just took it to them. Georgia beat the shit out of them, overpowered them. You guys might think that's crazy, but BYU has a lot of tough players, just like Georgia, right? They got the big guys. They got those big Samoan guys. They'll take chances and stuff, right? They'll roll the dice and they'll hit you. They play very physical. Even Baylor's wide receivers are physical, right? They play very physical. And I don't know if Oregon's ready for a smash mouth game, but I would have this game closer to like BYU, Oregon, BYU +1 maybe. Because on a neutral field, I would favor BYU. So the +4 is a little kind of like a red flag to me. I don't think it should be that high. I think they're begging people to take BYU. And that's like a red flag for me. So, BYU has the better team. And if there wasn't red flags, I would take BYU right now. But it just seems like that's a little too good to be true, right? I mean, never take something that's like too good to be true, right? So I'll have to wait more on that one. I'm sure the Pats will win more than 3 games. I mean, just Bill Belichick. I mean, he should have won at least 6 by himself. So I don't know if Tua got the nerves out, really. I mean, Tua, he can't like throw the out route. He lofts it. There's not much zip on it. So I think Tua's got to get better for them to be able to go pretty far. But their defense played great. How are they? I mean, if the Hurricanes lose to Texas A&M, it's a bad loss for them, I think. Even though they're a 5-point dog, they have the much better quarterback, the much better offense, right? Jimbo Fisher's running these old offenses from 2014, and he can't find a quarterback that can run them. Their quarterback right now, no good, right? They have Max Johnson, but he hasn't been. He got beat out for the job. He hasn't played yet. If you were going to put Max Johnson in, why wouldn't you put him in last game? That's just one of the questions I have. So maybe they start Max Johnson, but he got beat out for the job. Well, he lost the job at LSU also. So, it's tough to really know. But if the Hurricanes lose to BYU, to Texas A&M, it's a disappointing loss for sure. Through 2 games, I would be surprised. But, with the Hurricanes, you can't really trust them ever. Cristobal is still getting his feet wet, so they should win. But if they lost, I wouldn't be surprised because, that's what they've done historically the last few years. Lose games they shouldn't. What makes the BYU game like a red flag? A red flag is I would say BYU is +1 point in my numbers, and that's just because it's at Oregon. So that means on like a neutral field, I would have BYU favored by like 2 points, and in BYU, I would have them favored by 4 points at BYU. But on Oregon's field, getting 4, that just seems like too good to be true. At -4, they're really trying to attract BYU money. I don't think at that number they're trying to attract much Oregon money. But BYU is the tougher team, the more physical team. I have to check on some BYU injuries. Gunnar Romney was out, and their other receiver was out. But I like BYU's coach. I like their experience, their depth. I mean, they have a lot of good receivers who can catch, tough running backs. Their defense plays tough. They hit you late. They play dirty. That's all the stuff you need to make an upset. How excited are you? How excited am I about FSU? I mean, I don't really think we can, it's still so early. You can't really get excited about any team really so far. It's so early. You don't want to like jump the gun. So let's pull up some college football lines. The Michigan State game, I did look at that number. Let's take a look. At Washington, though, that's a tough trip. I would definitely lean Michigan State right there. Just because it's so hard to see. It's so hard to see like Washington turning it around so quick, right? I would definitely lean Michigan State, especially if you can get 4. Like right now, it's 3.5 across the board. It opened at 1, so people have been slamming with Washington. That's probably just because it's on the road. But I would bet Michigan State or pass. Not really a big fan of Washington. I don't think they're very good. Yeah, if the Hurricanes win this week, they're set up very nicely for the rest of the way. But I don't I have no expectations for the Hurricanes because, back in 2002 I did. But I've learned to it's better to not have any expectations. That way, if they don't reach them, you don't get disappointed. So, it is. I look at it more like from a handicapper's view, not like a fan anymore. I used to be a diehard Hurricanes fan, right? I mean, I used to go to every game. I would listen to talk radio all day. Now I don't. It's whatever. You always got to keep your priorities. FSU Louisville this week. I mean, it's a tough game. Louisville's a crazy place to play. FSU's had a week off. Louisville upset UCF last week. And Louisville upset UCF. They didn't even play very well, I thought. Anytime you can get a guy like Malik Cunningham as your quarterback, who's I guess Malik Cunningham, he's kind of like the Dollar General Lamar Jackson, right? But he's fast as fuck, right? The guy's fast. So those teams are always tough to play because guys like that can win the game by themselves, right? They can take over the game. That said, FSU, I mean, beating LSU and stuff, they should be ready to go. But it's going to be a tough environment for FSU, right? Louisville's going to be a tough place to play Friday night. Crazy. I know the craziest people that I interact with on Twitter are from Louisville for some reason. I don't know why. But it's going to be a tough one. And, it's really FSU's first road game of the season because they had a lot of fans in New Orleans. It's going to be tough. So if FSU lost, would I be surprised? No. If they won, would I be surprised? No. Louisville, just you don't really know which Louisville's going to show up. So we'll see on Friday night. I do kind of I like FAU plus 10 against UCF at home. So I'll probably bet 1 unit on that. FAU is playing pretty good. They're scoring points. They got the better quarterback. at home. So if you want to sprinkle a free play, take Florida Atlantic +10 against UCF this week. Coming off a loss, kind of like a letdown spot, UCF, they're probably pretty sad, disappointed they lost that game last week. I like Barstool, but like any company, I like some people at Barstool, others I could care less about. I talked to Brandon Walker a bunch. He's cool. Mincy, I talked to Mincy. Mincy's cool. If I did anything with them, I would only want to do something with Brandon Walker. Like, not really. He's a betting guy. He's a college football nut. He knows a lot about sports. Besides that, I'm all about like business. I'm not. Really, my company's gotten to the point where I'm pretty big right now, so I don't have to work with anybody, right? I don't need to work for anybody. I don't need like someone to say, "Hey, you need to do this podcast today by 3:00. Get it done." Like, this is not working. I'm the boss, right? I'm the captain, right? I am the captain now. Like, I don't answer to anybody. So that's the best part about my job. I don't answer to anybody. People want to work with me. So yeah, I like Pat McAfee. He follows me. I DM'd with him a few times. He's cool. They do their gambling stuff. They're pretty good. They seem to know what they're doing on there. And that's like a great job. What Pat's done is pretty cool. He's got like his friends on there, longtime friends who have come in and worked with him and stuff. See, that's cool. Like, my next step would be like, I've been looking for like office space like that, like big office space, kind of like a warehouse, where you can put like a swing, like a simulator, where you could put like a half court basketball court, like a chipping area and stuff. So I've been looking for one of those, but my problem is like in South Florida. If you want one of those, you got to go further west where it's less desirable, more crime and stuff. I look for something on the east, and it's tough to find something like that on the east. If this was like another state, like if I lived in Jacksonville or like Central Florida, I'm sure I could find a place that was in a good area, but not in South Florida. I'd love to though. Yeah, ESPN gambling coverage is like just terrible, right? Like, I asked my friend, Dave Sherapan, like Sportsbook Consigliere, like, why you would think a guy like that would be on ESPN, right? The guy knows everything. But if you work for ESPN, if you have a show on ESPN, right, they can only have one white guy, one black guy, one Asian guy, one woman. Like, you have to fit into like that mold for their shows. So, not that there's anything wrong with that, but they're just looking for to check certain boxes before they it's more about checking the boxes for their shows than it actually is like finding smart people about sports, right? Erin Kate Dolan, yeah, she's hot. I don't think anybody could say she's not. Big Cat's cool. Sometimes he gets to be like Lib Cat, which is like annoying. I like Dave. When did I not like Dave? I don't know. Dave's fine. I'd say my two that I like most at Barstool are Dave and Vernon Walker. So Rico, the guy's blocked me for liking tweets and stuff. So I don't not like Rico. I don't know the guy. So – Yeah, Hollywood has warehouses like that, but that's too far from my house. It's like 20 minutes south. I like stuff right around my house. I don't leave the house all day. I could probably do something here, build something in my backyard, but I'm just not trying. But yeah, Erin Kate Dolan, yeah, she's hot for sure. But I mean, she could know sports, but she's there because she looks good. If she didn't look like that, I don't think she would be there. But she seems to know her shit. If you hang around, like, if you do this job for like that, so long, you'll eventually learn something, at least. So I think last year we had 10 max plays in college and NFL combined. We went 9-1. So um, they're rare. Um, oh, I like Donnie. Yeah, he's cool. I mean, but I feel like he does stuff like, um, he's more there like sporadically. I don't think he's like he's always traveling around and stuff. I mean, the shows, the videos he did like a few years ago during COVID when he was traveling to like, um, Mongolia and shit, like those countries, like right off like the Afghanistan Russia border. Um, those were funny. Turkmenistan, I think he went to and stuff. I mean, those were funny. He did a nice. He went to Bimini. That was pretty funny. So he does have some funny videos. And they also got like, I mean, who else is on there? Um, I don't really follow like the Barstool Outdoors and stuff. Not really my bag, but they do some funny stuff. Like the chicks in the office shit or whatever. I don't like, never heard one of those. Like the Call Her Daddy, I never heard one of those episodes. Like, not just not. Me, Dave, and Big Cat. I mean, I would do a show with them, but like I said before, like I don't have to work. I mean, the good thing about when you run your own company is you don't really have to work for anybody. So, um, Kelly in Vegas. I think she lived in Vegas for so long. I think she started Wager Talk. So I mean, you got to give her credit for that. Um, I give her credit because she seems like she knows what she's talking about, right? Um, she's given some like good underdog parlays I've seen. So I mean, she really seems like she knows what she's talking about. She takes a lot of shit. Like people give her a lot of shit online. Um, so, but yeah, I mean, she seems like she knows her shit. I think she has like a boyfriend or something. The guy like blocked me like 5 years ago. I don't know why. It's kind of weird. But um, Megan making money. I mean, the problem with her is she picks all of her favorite teams, right? Like you can't give out LSU every week and like the Saints every week or whoever she likes, right? Like she's. I mean, I'd say Kelly in Vegas and Ariel, like definitely others. They both know what they're talking about, right? Ariel, like she's good. I mean, she's on the MLB Network and stuff, so you really gotta hand it to these people. I don't know who Casey Smith is. Do I have a good source for news? I don't. I just follow like breaking news people on Twitter. I don't follow anybody in the Washington Post. I put this. I downloaded some app or some program to Twitter like last year that blocked every single person affiliated with the Washington Post. So um, I don't really watch the news. Like, to be honest, I don't really care. You know, when you see stuff on the news and stuff, like that's stuff you can't control. So I don't really watch much of it. Maybe I'll watch Bloomberg or Fox Business Channel just to see what the market's doing, but maybe CNBC. But besides that, not really wasting my time. I'm not watching the news at night. Like, no thanks. All news is these days is bad news, right? So both ways, bad news both ways. I'm not trying to hear that shit. So are the Colts gonna bag an easy W this week? I mean, I don't know. They didn't look too good last week. Like Matt Ryan's turnover problems just terrible, right? Like Matt Ryan is just like disappointing. Let's see. Let's look at the Colts game right now. Right. The Colts -4 at Jacksonville. So this is a team they've lost to like the last 2 times in Jacksonville. And I remember it specifically because 3 years ago or something like that, I needed the Colts to finish out a money line parlay where I would have won like 50,000. It's the last game. Philip Rivers, they got their ass kicked by the Jags in Jacksonville, lost. And then last year, the Colts, they needed to beat the Jags to make the playoffs, and they lost. So let's look at. Hold on. Yeah, Matt Ryan, 4 fumbles last week. Just terrible. They have a chance last year to make the playoffs. All they have to do is beat the Jags, and they lose, right? They fucking Carson Wentz couldn't do nothing. Their defense couldn't stop like Trevor Lawrence at all, and the Jags just beat the shit out of them. So it's definitely a watch out spot for the Colts. Going down to Jacksonville, right? They're on guard, right? It helps they've lost the last 2 times there for sure. I would say that definitely helps like the Colts because they know like this team's fucking beat us before. We can't lose to them. But if Matt Ryan fumbles it 4 times, forget it. Like what is going on? How do you fumble the ball 4 times in a game, right? Like what is going on right there? They cut Blankenship, so you better hope it doesn't come down to a kick. I'm just Frank Reich. I mean, he's starting to get on my don't trust me list. But I will say that the fact they've lost the last couple of times that helps their case. So they'll be on watch this week. So hopefully not hopefully. I mean, I don't know who I'm betting yet, but for my futures plays, hopefully the Colts get it done. Yeah, I said earlier. That I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams won by 21. The Rams this week are a good use on a reverse teaser, right? Like a pleaser. You could probably take the Rams like -17 in the pleaser with somebody else. So like Rams -17 with say Like, oh, okay. Wow. Green Bay is steamed up to a 10-point favorite at home against Chicago. It's kind of surprising. You know, if I was going to do a reverse teaser this week, all right, just like, I'm not saying I'm going to do one, but if I right now, if I had to put a reverse teaser card in, I'd take the Rams minus 17. I'd take Cincinnati minus 14 and a half, 15. Because, at Dallas, it's not looking good for the Cowboys. And I'd look at maybe Tampa Bay minus 9.5, 10 at New Orleans. Brady really wants to win there. I think he expressed that in his post-game comments after Dallas. The Saints did not look good in the first three quarters on last Sunday. So it's like a payback spot for Tom Brady. Or, I could see the Lions beating Washington by like 10. Reverse teaser. There's a lot of reverse teaser chances this week. Maybe Baltimore has on the Dolphins. Maybe Baltimore minus 10 if it got there. But there's a lot of good reverse teaser opportunities this week. So make sure you guys take a look at those. See, the Dolphins struggle against the Ravens. Like, Harbaugh owns the Ravens for some reason. So, definitely not at the point where I'm going to trust the Dolphins on the road. Tua got hit a couple times last week, fumbled it once. So, who knows? It's still so early. Reverse teaser this week. Actually, I'd also add I'd add Pittsburgh minus 5.5 to that, right? At home against New England. So we're talking reverse teasers, right? So I'd take like Pittsburgh minus 5.5 at home against New England, reverse teaser. That's a pretty good leg. The Steelers defense plays like they did last week. I mean, they could really give Mac Jones some trouble. So, I mean, just looking at this right now, guys, there's really a lot of good legs for reverse teasers. So, if there's one week where you guys want to play those, I would definitely say this is the week because it looks pretty good. The Packers have no receivers, yes, but they've been in this situation before. Last year the Packers got blown out by the Saints. Game 1. Everybody buried them. The Packers are dead. Then they won 7 straight. We all know how they finished. Definitely, I'm not ready to bury the Packers for sure. Look, their receivers dropped a lot of passes last year, game 1, and then Rodgers lit them up in practice, and they caught everything after that. So they're not going to drop passes forever, that's for sure. I'm doing my soccer plays right now, guys, so I can try to find a free play right now. Let's pull up the soccer. Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. Hello? Hey. How you doing? All right. All right. I'll over there in like 10 minutes. Where do I think about that? 8500. 8660. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Thanks. All right. Bye. Eight, 6, 6. All right, guys. I gotta be getting out of here, so I don't have time to give you guys a free play for soccer. I gotta go take care of some problems with other people, of course. But yeah, so basically we just talked about teasers and pleasers and reverse teasers. So you guys take a look at those. I think I gave out FAU plus 10 against UCF. So I don't like betting Italian teams, to be honest. They just, something's up with them every time they play. They seem to fuck me. So I got to get out of here, guys. So have a nice day. I will be around. Soccer will be out around 11:30. All right. Have a nice